Um, and now I'd like to introduce our panel. I think this is the time that a lot of people have been looking forward to hear about different policies that you're interested in. So without further ado, I'd like to just have each of the panelists introduce themselves, just go through a general, what's your personal experience or your name, where you're from, and just your little personal experience in policy advocacy. We'll just start from the top left and go down to the bottom right, across, and then down and then across again. So with that, Anna.
All right, hi everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. My name is Anna Salido. I am currently residing in Columbus, Ohio, and my policy work mainly focuses around what's called health disparities, which are kind of like unequal and unjust differences in health that impact marginalized groups. So right now I'm working a lot on the COVID-19 pandemic in Ohio for Asian Americans, and then I also do a lot with mental health advocacy in the community. Happy to be here and meet you all.
Hi, everyone.
Henry.
Hi, I'm Henry. I'm the Vice President of YAPA. I'm from Mountain View, California. Currently, my focus is in policing reform. I have also some experience with environmental advocacy, and I'm really glad to be here today.
Mary.
Hi, everybody. My name's Mary Jessie Celestin. I'm a rising senior engineering major at Harvey Mudd College. I'm the founder of San Jose Strong. And so, I'm home base is San Jose. A little bit about San Jose Strong. We're a new organization that I founded roughly a month ago in the wake of George Floyd. It's now blossoming into a streamlined, comprehensive platform for civic and cultural engagement in San Jose. The goal is, where you have platforms that are like Visit San Jose, Spark Notes for tourists, we're the whole book for residents. And so we are thus engaging in policy advocacy across the board. 3 great examples within this past week. We pushed policy engagement regarding transportation and bus systems in San Jose, getting cops out of schools and San Jose public high schools, as well as the national launch platform engaging the ICE Statement for International Students, SOIS.US, which we organized and launched 2 days ago. So those are some highlights from this past week, but we're engaged in all sorts of things across the city and now nationwide.
Thank you. Sonnet.
Hi, hi everyone. I'm Sanat Singho. I'm a rising high school senior in the Bay Area, in Cupertino specifically. So I've been involved with environmental advocacy since sophomore year, basically getting first in my school's environmental club, and now as the co-lead of Cupertino Youth Climate Action Team. We work with the city and the Sustainability Commission in our area to pass climate policy and advocate for various climate policies. I'd say some of our main accomplishments in the last year have been helping pass all electric reach codes in Cupertino, and working with the city to have a Green Volunteers program recently, along with helping lead the Silicon Valley Youth Climate Strikes that happened last year. So those are some of the things we've been working on, and we're excited to continue doing work in the city.
All right, so Serengeti currently, she was actually moving into New York 30 minutes ago, so she's still unpacking her laptop, and she'll be here shortly. So let's move on to Young for now.
Hi everyone, this is Young Jung with the National Council of Asian Pacific Americans, or Ancapa. I'm the Policy and Communications Associate. I'm based in Arlington, and I used to work in DC when the offices were open, but I'm proud to say I'm a proud Californian from Los Angeles. And some of my work, just to give a short line, our coalition is basically a coalition of 40 national Asian Pacific American serving organizations. So if you're asking, where is our NAACP? Where is the AAPI, Unidos US? We are the organization that does basically AAPI advocacy on the national front. And I personally work on housing and economic justice, education, and civil rights policy.
All right. Zara?
Hi everyone, my name is Zara. I am a rising senior at the University of Buffalo. My policy work is more involved at the university level, where I was involved with Student Senate, so that's dealing with academic or environmental or social issues, etc., with administration. And I also helped incoming freshmen, college freshmen, register to vote on their moving in day. And then I also interned with New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand in her Albany regional office through APAPA, which stands for Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association.
All right, and I believe that Serengeti has made it. If we go ahead and have her introduce herself, name, location, and just your general experience in policy advocacy.
Hi everyone, I'm Serengeti. I actually just got off a flight, but this is important to me, so I wanted to make time for it. I am currently a student at Columbia University with Dylan, and I also work full-time at the Center for Reproductive Rights, where I'm a legal associate working on a few different cases for the advancement of women's reproductive rights, pretty much. So access to birth control and maternal care and all of that stuff. I'm here on my own personal capacity though, just to add that caveat. But a lot of my experience in advocacy besides this one, which is more so legal advocacy, has been pretty much within the city of New York, trying to build different coalitions to essentially increase voter engagement. And I've done that through voter education and stuff like that, such as speaking to high school students and you know, having huge voter drives. And I've also done a good amount of advocacy work in California, where I was working at the state capitol, as well as DC. So, you know, I think from my experience, you can really engage within political advocacy in so many different ways.
All right, thank you, Serengeti. And yeah, like we said, things were a little bit of a rush. Let's get one question. So our participants, were asked to submit questions that they were interested in, and we compiled a list of questions based off of our submissions on Eventbrite. And so here we are. We'll have a couple questions that were taken from that list, and we'll just ask each panelist one of these questions. So we're going to be asking the first 4 panelists the same question, and it was just one thing you wish you knew when you first started work in policy advocacy. So Anna, would you go ahead and give us your response?
Yeah, so I think that if I can only pick one thing that I would have liked to have known when I started policy advocacy, it would be how helpful it is to have some kind of mentor. You know, when you're when you're working on being an advocate, especially if it's, you know, one of your first time, or maybe you're someone who doesn't quite know exactly how the process works, it's so incredibly helpful to have someone there who knows what they're doing, who has done this before, or even if they haven't done specifically, you know, policy work for your issue that you're interested in, or, you know, policy work in general. Maybe they can be a mentor in learning how to, you know, public speak. You know, you're meeting a lot of new people when you're doing advocacy. Maybe they can be a mentor in just helping your confidence. You know, having a mentor in general is just something that is so beneficial. It helps you learn a lot faster. And it's always nice to have someone who's got, you know, got your back and is there for the emotional support, as well as, you know, helping you with other things as well.
Absolutely, definitely agree. Henry?
Yeah, I definitely echo Anna's point that mentors are important. I think that in general, I guess more broadly speaking, policy advocacy is very difficult. Policies are very complex. They're very messy. I'll talk about this more, I guess, when it comes to breakout rooms, but I did some advocacy regarding a local mine in the Bay Area, just one mine operating on the side of Black Mountain. That one mine, oh my God, it's a whole legal, environmental health mess. Like there are just so many legal documents involved. So it's just a lot of work. And I think that trying to work on things, of course, with a keen mind and that sort of tenacity is important. I think also working with a group of people who can, collaborate with you, who can sort of, encourage you is also really helpful.
All right, Mary?
Sorry, I tried to unmute myself, but then the pop-up came up, so it was taking me 2 seconds to do both. But yeah, to build off the previous statements regarding this, honestly, I really think having a core set of values and a mission statement are incredibly important. And so that's coming from me as the founder of a new organization where I was thrust into this public space of, now I'm plugged into all of the organizations, so many organizations of South Bay and political leaders. But this started for me because I made a guide to activism in San Jose that went viral on my Instagram. And I was like, there's a need here. Let's start running this. And one of my first biggest learning lessons, which didn't have to do with policy, but it had to do with organization, and it ties into policy, was a faux pas in collaborating with a Juneteenth march, where the event that we sponsored, some of the commentary shared, some of the things that went down did not align with my team's values. And we had to come out with a public statement that we didn't know that was going to happen. We didn't sign up for that. We felt really blindsided. And that really instilled in me, okay, we need to know where we stand when it comes to making a change and making a difference in San Jose and wherever you guys are located. And I think that same goes for policy, right? If you're trying to promote a certain agenda item or something to be on the upcoming ballot, and you're working with other people and other organizations, you need to make sure that all of you guys are on the same page about what you're fighting for. And even within progressive, this was within a progressive space where there was misalignment about how to make that change. And so I think really knowing for yourself, having a list that you can reference when you work with other people and collaborate on advocacy is incredibly important. And that can really be brought together when you have a mentor, right? You have understanding of how things can be messy. And so that's the take that I would throw.
Fine. And Sonnet, what is your take on an important tip to have?
Yeah, I think I definitely, again, echo what everyone else previously mentioned. I was lucky enough to have sort of all of those things in terms of having a mentor and a community early on. So definitely try to join an organization that has the same values, like Marie mentioned, that you have, so that you can work with like-minded people and have mentors that also share the same vision. I'd say also on top of all that, it's good to have I think this is something, I was also part of YAPA in the beginning. So this is something that we kind of learned through that, was having one issue or maybe even one policy that you're particularly passionate about when you get started, so that keeps you going. And you sort of learn the process through advocating for just that policy in the beginning, and then maybe diversifying to other policies that also fit your mission and are similar, because that helps you keep you focused. And I think that was something I could have done a better job of doing in the beginning as well.
All right, and Serengeti, what's one of your most memorable experiences in policy advocacy?
Yeah, so for me, it was, I guess there's quite a few, but one of the larger ones was when I was one of the chairs of the Senate at my previous university. We were facing a huge issue when it came to food insecurity on campus. A lot of our students were going hungry, and I'd actually just started on campus. And so I was like, man, this is a huge issue, but I just got here. Is anyone going to listen to me? I'm a freshman, no one cares about what we have to say, right? And so I think a lot of it was just realizing that everyone has a voice, including the freshmen that just got there, and sort of rallying the troops and being able to, you know, create a community. And that's something that my previous university, we just did not have that. We had a huge lack of community. And so being able to foster that and also tackling the issue of food insecurity on campus was just really beautiful. You know, we ended up creating a meal share program where students with excess dining dollars could share with students who didn't have anything to eat, essentially. And they did that over meals together. And so, yeah, just keeping an open mind was really helped out when it came to that. And it was memorable because something that was previously not there on campus, which was community, ended up being created. And this thing went on beyond my time at that school. Like it's still going on now. And so being able to leave that legacy is just very near and dear to my heart.
All right. And Young, what is your most memorable experience?
Yeah, so for me, looking back at a time where there was a protest in DC for detained children, basically at detainment facilities, and there were about 30,000 people. And just for context, you know, if you work at DC for federal policy advocacy, you typically don't tend to interact with a lot of people just outside of the policy arena. So you don't get to sort of be part of the movement or some sort of activism. You sort of feel removed from that. So it was really powerful for me to be part of, you know, this thousands, you know, you said 30,000 people doesn't seem like a lot by number, but if you're actually with 30,000 people, it's like, wow, I'm like with like 1 million people. And so, you know, that sort of feeling sort of got me catching myself like, yeah, I'm sort of understanding, you know, you're working on something every day that you don't feel connected to, but you sort of, you know, at that moment, I sort of connected back to all of the issues that sort of drove me to, you know, move from LA to DC, you know, flying, you know, thousands of miles just to be here on working on federal policy. So yeah, so that moment was sort of an eye opener for me.
Definitely. And finally, Zara, your most memorable moment.
Yeah, so I would say like my favorite part about policy advocacy is when you see the change that you've been advocating for come to fruition. So just to leverage off of what the panelists said, like policy advocacy can be a long process. So when you see that result that you've been working for take a really long time and you actually see the desired results that you've been working for, it makes all the hard work worth it. And I would say also just the sense of community that you end up building as a result of working together for policy advocacy, the sense of community that it brings you while you're networking, specifically for me, like it was with school administration, just making those connections during that process is also a really great part about policy advocacy.
All right, thank you. With that, you've heard a lot from our panelists, just general ideas of what they've done and what the things that they've been doing. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to our breakout rooms. And so our tech team will be moving you into a breakout room with one of the 7 panelists we have here today. And you'll be able to ask any questions that you might have specifically for somebody who has a specialty in your field that you're interested in. So with that, I'll allow us to get taken away into the breakout rooms. If you have any questions, just ask the tech team member in your room. Welcome back as we have our participants filing back into our main room. I hope you had some good discussion, good questions, good talks, good answers. I hope that any questions that you may have had were answered. And I hope that you got a lot out of these panels. I know we have a lot of really experienced people in all sorts of diverse fields. And I hope that you really got a lot out of it. We have some people still in panel rooms wrapping things up as we speak. So we'll just give them I think about a minute is what I'm told, before things are completely shut down. So thank you all for joining us. I hope you got a lot out of it. Yeah. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you got a lot out of this. Um, it was definitely enjoyable. Don't go yet, though. We still have a little bit more information to give it to you before we wrap things up. So hold on to your horses. I guess that's a Texan saying, isn't it? Huh. Never really thought about it.
I think
All
so.
right.
We support you, Dylan.
All right. I think most people are now out of the breakout rooms. I hope you had a really great time with your panelists. I'm really proud to have all these diverse panelists providing a diverse range of a wealth of experience, really. And I really hope that you got your questions answered. And if you don't worry, there's still more information to come.